Honorable Dr. Purandeshwari, Dr. Gretchen Kalonji, Professor Geeta Bali, and Professor Vijay Lakshmi Saxena, and dear friends, it is a great privilege for me to address the first Women's Science Congress as part of the 99th Indian Science Congress, being jointly hosted by KIIT University and the National Institute of Science Education and Research in Bhubaneswar. I am indeed very happy to visit fascinating Odisha for the first time. I am honored to have been invited by Professor Geeta Bali to deliver the inaugural address at the first Women's Science Congress here this morning. I compliment the organizers of the Congress for choosing the evocative theme of science and technology for inclusive innovation, the role of women, for this year's deliberations. I also appreciate the fact that the organizers have brought together so many talented women scientists who are to be congratulated for their achievements and who, I am sure, will inspire younger members of their cohort to attain even higher pinnacles of success. Human inquisitiveness and the quest to comprehend the nature of the universe around us have engendered science, or the study of the unknown. Our very own Indian civilization has always celebrated the spirit of inquiry and the pursuit of knowledge for the advancement of humankind. It was our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who said in 1947 that, I quote, "The future belongs to science and those who make friendship with science," unquote. Today, more than ever before, there is need to revisit the concept of the scientific temper envisioned by Prime Minister Nehru. Ladies and gentlemen, our founding fathers recognized the need for promoting the scientific temper and the crucial role of science and technology in building a modern, strong, and vibrant India. Their vision laid a new basis, a renewed commitment to reignite the spirit of scientific inquiry, rational thinking, innovation, and channeling all this into making of a modern country. Women, as the popular saying goes, hold up half the sky. The Indian sky still needs many more skilled and qualified women to sustain it and to disseminate the fruits of progress throughout the country. The number of Indian women scientists in our country is still too few. In fact, this paucity in numbers of women scientists is a worldwide phenomenon. The question we must ask ourselves is, why is there a relative absence of women in science? It cannot be due to the women themselves. Is it because of the institutions to which they belong? This is the question to which I found myself constantly returning as I wrote my speech. The involvement of women in the field of science is as old as human civilization. An ancient Egyptian, Merit-Ptah, is the earliest known female scientist named in the history of science. Indian history celebrates the scientific pursuits of its illustrious daughter, Leelavati, a renowned mathematician of the 12th century. In 1935, the year of the founding of the Indian Academy of Sciences, one of our pioneering women scientists, E.K. Janaki Ammal, became a fellow of the Academy, and of the Indian National Science Academy in 1957. The image of the wise woman, the healer and the nurturer who has access to the ocean of knowledge is common to many cultures. Historical evidence and scientific research show that the pursuit of science is gender neutral. Yet the contribution of women to technology is hidden from history. The moot point is why scientific streams remain largely male-dominated, or why there are very few women members in various national science academies or in decision-making positions in scientific establishments. This also begs the question whether we are doing enough in India to encourage the participation of women in Indian science, or more importantly, what more we should be doing to make science more inclusive. We cannot afford to be charged with gender blindness in this crucial field that is so vital for India's development. In a recent talk, Dr. Subra Suresh, director of the US National Science Foundation, reported that the increase in PhDs in science and engineering in the US over the last 20 years or so is primarily because of the increase in women PhDs. It is wonderful news with respect to entry, but the real problem lies in retention. Women leave the scientific workforce in large numbers owing to several factors, ranging from societal values to work-home balance. This is a huge issue for the US national workforce, as in many other countries, including in our very own India. Similar findings have been highlighted in a report on status of women scientists in R&D in Delhi, submitted to the National Commission for Women. In fact, several countries continue to seek policy solutions to address the problem of the leaky pipeline insofar as retention of women in science is concerned. These challenges are not just exclusive to science, but cut across many professions. It is rightly said that the absence of women from science implies a formidable, underused human resource. Gender-based disparities have remained the most prevalent form of exclusion globally, and perhaps more so in the developing world. The Indian experience is no exception to this state of affairs. Despite global economic turbulence, of course, our country has done well in terms of economic growth. However, for growth to be meaningful, it must be inclusive and benefit all sections of society. Indeed, no society can claim to be part of the modern civilized world unless it provides an enabling environment for empowering women and provides them equal opportunities. And in general, we have to create a culture of science in our country, attain a high scientific literacy rate, empower men and women with the ability to understand scientific terms, concepts, and methods, and assess the impact of science on society. Our citizens must be imbued with the spirit of inquiry. Today, we in India have given the world such concepts as frugal innovation, reverse innovation, Gandhian innovation, about getting more from less for more people, more from less for more, as Dr. R.A. Mashelkar and the late Dr. C.K. Prahalad termed it. We must become leaders in innovation for the whole world, innovation with equity and sustainability, as Dr. Mashelkar puts it. And in this enterprise, women must play a role commensurate with their proven intellectual capacities. With sustained effort in recent years, the science and technological base in India has broadened, and S&T breakthroughs are improving the well-being of our people. Look at game changers like the Akash computer tablet and Chotu Cool, a refrigerator that costs just 70 US dollars. At the same time, there is a recognition that we together, the government, our education and scientific institutions, the private sector, and the scientific community need to redouble national efforts to make science more inclusive and, in turn, harness its full potential to meet our development imperatives. As our Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, has said, and I quote, "If India has to re-emerge as a knowledge power in the 21st century, then it can only be through developing a strong capability in science and technology," unquote. Despite several challenges, Indian women have been active participants in all disciplines of science and technology. In 1975, we had only 800 women engineers, while the latest University Grants Commission statistics show that a total of 276,806 women were enrolled in engineering and technology courses at the start of the 2009-2010 academic sessions. Similarly, the number of women PhD holders in science in 1950 was about 80, but today this number is more than 6,000. Women are faring better and better in the academic field. Yet, how many of them are fellows of leading national science institutions and academies or vice-chancellors of universities? I'm so happy that we have a woman vice-chancellor, Dr. Bali, in our midst today. Or directors of scientific institutions. What is the reason for this dichotomy between what is called early promise and the harnessing of capabilities honed over years of experience? Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, while referring to this problem, has spoken of how we need to create mid-career opportunities for women scientists who have had to quit their careers immediately after marriage, self-employment opportunities in the area of science and technology for women professionals and entrepreneurs, create S&T parks in areas such as nutrition, food science, post-harvest processing, and value addition to primary agricultural products. An organic definition of a science for women concept is needed. This is especially in agriculture, which in India is getting increasingly feminized due to out-migration of men. Technological empowerment is the term applied to enabling women, particularly rural women, to improve productivity, profitability, and sustainability of crop and animal husbandry, marine and inland fisheries, forestry, and agroforestry. In Dr. Swaminathan's words, I quote, "The future of agriculture in our country will largely depend upon steps taken to empower rural women with new technical skills and scientific knowledge," unquote. To respond to challenges of ensuring greater participation of Indian women into scientific streams, the Ministry of Science and Technology has proactively been taking enabling measures. The Department of Science and Technology, the DST, launched the Women Scientists Scheme in 2002 for providing opportunities to women scientists and technologists who desire to return to the mainstream science after a break in career. Over 2,000 women scientists have benefited from the fellowship initiative. The special program, CURI, Consolidation of University Research for Innovation and Excellence of Women in Universities, was launched by the DST in 2009, specially for women universities to enhance their R&D infrastructure. I have learned that 6 women universities have been supported for 3 years under the CURI program. The DST was the first department to introduce gender budgeting in totality. 20 rural women technology parks have been established in various states to showcase technology options, provide training, and also backward and forward linkages to rural women for undertaking income-generating activities based on local resources. It is a positive development that on the recommendation of the Scientific Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, the Government of India set up a task force on women in science in 2005. The task force has recommended a series of measures for fostering and supporting women resources in S&T, attracting girls to science, and new policies, rules, and initiatives to enhance women's participation in science. In order to implement its recommendations, a standing committee has been set up under the chairmanship of the Honourable Minister of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences for creating a gender-enabling environment in S&T institutions and organizations. These are indeed welcome steps. It all begins with education that enhances the quality of a nation, and in promoting gender equality, eliminating the gender gap in primary school enrollment and in secondary, undergraduate, and graduate education. Just before coming here, I was at the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, and Dr. Samant, I admire the contribution he has made to the cause of the education of tribal children. And when I address the children today, I was told, and I was really struck by the fact that 50% of the enrollment in that school for tribal children is of girls. And these are young girls from the tribal areas of Orissa who have come here for their education. And I foresee a very, very bright future for them, because once we give them the opportunity, they will be able to touch the sky, I am sure. As one eminent woman Nobel laureate, Rosalind Yalow, notes, I quote, "The world cannot afford the loss of the talents of half its people if we are to solve the many problems which beset us," unquote. The process of knowledge creation and generation has to include women. And when it comes to science, as one of our very eminent women scientists, Dr. Vijayalakshmi Ravindranath, has said, I quote, "We need to develop a critical mass of women scientists in the decision-making process to make a dent," unquote. I hope we will create more and more institutions of excellence that will foster just such a spirit. Institutions like Nalanda University, where women and men students once debated the meaning of the universe and explored it with a sense of wonder and unquenchable thirst for answers to the sweet mystery of life. I'm confident that the first Women's Science Congress will provide an excellent platform to celebrate the achievements of Indian women in science and also deliberate on ways to enhance their participation in science, in research and development, and decision-making processes relating to science. It is time to think out of the box, to think big, if we are to emerge as global leaders in science and harness the potential of science as an agent for transformation and development. Let us make a fresh beginning with new initiatives for encouraging the participation and the retention of women, Indian women in science and technology, and making them equal partners in all processes of development and governance. This is not only desirable, but essential for all-round national development and progress. I would like to end on a personal note. I know how an education in science can impact lives. I was inspired to be an independent, professional woman by my mother, who, in the year India won its independence, graduated from a college for girls in Mangalore, in Karnataka, with a first-class degree in mathematics. I know that 2012 is the year of mathematics. For me, as a little girl growing up in the 50s and 60s, my mother was a fountain of knowledge and a go-to person for all our math questions. And because math experts are also good at so much more, she was an expert on almost everything else we studied, from poetry to English writing style, geography, chemistry, and current affairs. She taught us to appreciate the world with a keen, meticulous spirit of inquiry. And that, I believe, was a result of her scientific education and the high standards it had set. She was the one who contextualized the story of Madame Curie for me when, as a young 9-year-old, I read the Curie biography for the first time. Mother empowered us as a result of her own scientific temper and intellectual dimension. You educate a woman, and she educates a family. Once again, I would like to express my happiness for being here with all of you today, wonderfully talented women who have accomplished so much. I wish the deliberations of the Congress all success. I also take this opportunity to wish all participants a very happy and fulfilling New Year. Thank you.